Amar Singh Pradhan. Let's begin with the top stories this hour. Finance Minister Yuvraj Khattiwada portrays a bleak picture in the economic blueprint, points out a number of loopholes plaguing the national economy. Sister wings of the ruling parties alleged of waging protest programs in a bid to garner cheap popularity. Students demand annulment of the decision to grant permanent status to temporary teachers. Palestinian officials confirmed the killing of at least 16 people when Israeli forces opened fire. Hundreds more reported wounded during protests at the Gaza-Israeli border. And stays all set for the second edition of the Dhangari Premier League that kicks off today. Players mood a bit in the wake of ODI status. Let us begin with the latest national political updates. The government yesterday unveiled its economic programs and policies with the objective of ensuring good governance and economic prosperity through a white paper. Finance Minister Yuvraj Khattiwada tabled the white paper at the Parliament yesterday. Unveiling the country's economic blueprint, Finance Minister Khattiwada said that financial irregularities, distributive budget and foreign dependency have contributed towards a deplorable national economy. The Finance Minister has also noted that the administrative expenses is 110% more than the revenue collection. The Finance Minister had charged the local and central government of making the budget in a random style. The white paper has stated that the budget of the current fiscal year is facing a deficit of 200 billion rupees. He noted that the foreign assistance has not been efficiently utilized, adding that the procedures were plagued by irregularities. According to Minister Khattiwada, the policy of privatization adopted by previous government also contributed to the negative national economy. Despite all the setbacks, Minister Khattiwada noted that the government would remain committed towards the economic prosperity as desired by the public on the back of the government with a clear majority. Meanwhile, the white paper issued by Finance Minister Yuvraj Khattiwada has drawn mixed reactions from the economists. Finance expert Biswa Paudel said that the paper has rightly portrayed the recent reality pertaining to inability in spending development budget and lack of financial discipline, among others. He, however, said that the document has failed to mention about any concrete plans to sort out the problems. Economist Diliraj Khanal, meanwhile, said that the white paper has identified obstacles in terms of sustainable economic growth. He urged the government to put forth immediate and effective measures to do away with the loopholes as indicated by the paper. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is embarking on a state visit to India from 6th to 8th of April. The three-day schedule of the Premier's India visit was unveiled by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs yesterday. During his visit, Prime Minister Oli will meet his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi along with Indian President Ramnath Kovind. Prime Minister Oli will be accompanied by his wife Radhika Sakya along with 8 ministers and other high-ranking officials. Premier Oli is also slated to visit Govind Ballabh Pant University of Agriculture and Technology in Uttarakhand. This is going to be Oli's first foreign visit following his appointment as the Prime Minister. It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where he texts us with our opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what could be the reason for a deplorable economic condition of the country? Your options are: option A, due to distributive policy; option B, lack of financial discipline; and option C, dependency on others. The voting is on. Type any AWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 8080 and do share opinion with us. And moving on, the road expansion drive being carried out extensively in the capital has unexpectedly hit a snag in a number of places. Some diplomatic agencies have not supported the government's road expansion campaign, to the growing disappointment of the public. This is the section of the pavement at Balwatar encompassing the Chinese embassy. The sidewalk ends in front of a wall as the Chinese embassy did not leave required land for road expansion. Likewise, there is no sidewalk in front of the Russian embassy. Parts of the houses built before the 1976 by breaching the government provision were pulled down by the government. However, these buildings of embassies that were constructed post-1976 era are found to be openly flouting government provision. It is not only the Chinese and Russian embassies, as the US Embassy, Japan and German embassies too have not cooperated with the government's road expansion drive. Meanwhile, the embassies have been making excuses on the basis of Vienna Convention, which in Article 22 states that a host country should safeguard the property of diplomatic agencies and refrain from encroaching it. However, Article 41 of the Vienna Convention also states that it is the responsibility of a diplomatic agency to respect and follow the rules of the host country. Sister wings of the ruling parties have been alleged of hitting the streets in a bid to garner cheap popularity in the pretext of various demands. Students have recently resorted to protest demanding annulment of the government's decision to grant permanent status to temporary teachers. However, the student organizations of the ruling parties and lawmakers as well have lent a helping hand to intensify student resistance. The student wings affiliated with the ruling CPN-UML and CPN Maoist Center have expressed their solidarity towards the demands of students who have been staging hunger strike at the capital's Maitigar Mandala. Educationists are of the view that it's a responsibility on the part of the student organizations of ruling political parties to stage demonstration instead of taking initiative to resolve the issue. Although it's obvious to protest the government's attempt to grant permanent status to as many as 22,000 temporary teachers without due procedures, the student wings resorting to mere street politics has been seen as the dual character aimed at cheap popularity. And in this context, we had asked the residents of Jhapa and Chitwan what's your take on the students' wings of ruling parties themselves resorting to educational strike. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
Public voice.
शिक्षा ऐनमा पास गरेको कुरालाई परीक्षा हुन दिए, उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ आन्तरिक प्रतिस्पर्धामा बस्न दिए, अनि त्यसबाट अनुत्तीर्ण भए सरकारले दिएको सेवा सुविधा दिएर उहाँहरूलाई बिदा गर्दिन, विद्यार्थीहरू सहमत भइदिए, मलाई चाहिँ राम्रो लाग्छ।
शिक्षाको लागि त यस्तो आन्दोलन गर्नु राम्रो हुँदैन, उचित हुँदैन क्या। उनीहरूले शान्ति तरिकाले पनि माग गर्न सक्थे नि त।
आन्दोलन गर्नु भन्दा बरु शैक्षिक गुणस्तरता वृद्धिका लागि चाहिँ अलिकति अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ।
आमा बाबुले कति खर्च गरेर पढ्नु भनेर पठाएको हुन्छ, स्कुलमा पठाएको हुन्छ, कलेजमा पठाएको हुन्छ। आमा बाबुको धेरै मेहनत गइराखेको हुन्छ। कसरी गइराख्नु भएको छ उहाँहरूले सोच्ने कुरा हो।
कहिले चाहिँ नेविसङ, कहिले अखिल क्रान्तिकारी भन्न उनीहरू आफ्नो हिसाबले जान्छन्। पार्टीगत नगए हुन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ।
Nepali Congress leader and former Home Minister Khumbahadur Khadga passed away yesterday evening. Khadga breathed his last at New Delhi's Apollo Hospital. Nepali Congress spokesperson Biswa Prakash Sharma informed that Khadga's body will be brought back home today. He also said that last rites of the leader will be performed tomorrow. Late Khadga's body will be kept at Nepali Congress party office to offer tributes and condolences. Khadga was suffering from kidney ailment. Late Khadga was in the center of the politics in the post-1990 era, assuming ministerial portfolios for 12 times, but he was mired in controversy after being dragged in a corruption scandal. Once an influential Congress leader, late Khadga suffered from the ignominy of spending time behind bars following the corruption charges. Late Khadga is survived by his wife, a son and a daughter. And now time for international update. Palestinian officials have said that at least 16 people have been killed by Israeli forces and hundreds more wounded during protests at the Gaza-Israeli border. Palestinian health officials confirmed at least 1,400 people had been wounded by live ammunition. Thousands had marched to the border at the start of a 6-week protest dubbed the Great March of Return. The Israeli military said rioting had broken out at various places along the border and soldiers had opened fire towards main instigators. Later, Israel said it had targeted sites of Hamas militant group. Palestinians have pitched 5 camps near the border for the protest. They are demanding that refugees be allowed to return to home that are now in Israel. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas urged the council to help provide protection for Palestinian people. The Israel Defense Forces said there were about 17,000 Palestinians in 5 locations near the border fence. It said it had enforced a closed military zone in areas surrounding Gaza. The Israeli military oversees a no-go zone along the Gaza border, citing security concerns, and has doubled its troop presence for the protest. Israel deployed tanks and snipers. Witnesses said a drone had been used in at least one location to drop tear gases. The stage is all set for the second edition of Dhangadi Premier League that kicks off in a short while in the far western town of Dhangadi. Local, national and international players are coming together for the 15-day extravaganza. Local players look excited to rub shoulders against the national cricketers, while senior players too are ready for the new challenge. The DPL this year has become special as this is the first tournament since Nepal achieved the ODI status. The one-day status has given an added impetus to the players, while the ground condition, lucrative prize money and latest technology have also given additional charm to the tournament. The second DPL kicks off today with a match between defending champions Team Chauraha Dhangadi and Kathmandu Goldens. Chauraha, led by Paras Khadka, had won the first edition of the championship, while this year the team is under Sompal Kami. Kathmandu Goldens is led by Gyanendra Malla. Meanwhile, the temporary parapet built at the ground is dedicated to 5 players. The parapet is named after former skippers Binod Das, Raju Khadka, all-rounder Mahmud Alam, late coach Arjun Khadka and Olympian Deepak Bista. American 14th seed John Isner has stormed in the finals of Miami Open tennis, defeating Argentinian player Juan Martin Del Potro. In the semi-final held in Florida, Isner won in straight sets. Isner pocketed the first set 6-1 but faced stiff resistance in the second set as he won in a tiebreaker. The American finalist John Isner will now clash against the winner of the second semi-final between Alexander Zverev of Germany and Spanish player Carreno Busta. And those were the latest headlines. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTV SD. Great day ahead.